The Louie T Network is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to the Command Post Live. You know what it is. Post up, take command. Now, of course, I'm your host, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Third time's the charm, I guess. What did I always tell you guys? Death, taxes, and something happening when I get off of a stream. Look, you can count on this like you can count on the sun coming up tomorrow. All right. So I get off the stream. I'm thinking, okay, the Commanders have promoted David Raih, but they've just given him an additional title, right? No. They actually promoted David Raih to offensive pass game coordinator. That's his job. Now the tight end positions tight ends coach became available and vacant because of that promotion. And so the Commanders make a hire in former Arizona Cardinals tight ends coach, Ben Steele. Now, before we get to Ben Steele, we have to go back and talk about Dan Quinn saying that they weren't done with this staff. Again, I've said this a million times about Dan Quinn and Adam Peters. They haven't lied to me once. Not a single time. Not to my face, at least, directly. Indirectly, they may have said something and it didn't turn out to be true. For example, we lost the game, but we are no longer lost, or we're not lost anymore. He didn't say that intentionally to mislead me. He literally thought we weren't lost anymore. Little did he know we were still foraging through the forest looking for our cabin, looking for shelter, right? He didn't know he was leading us into a trap. He thought he was doing the right thing. Never has Dan Quinn or Adam Peters lied to our faces. And Dan Quinn told us we're not done yet with the staff. Case in point, David Raih promoted to offensive pass game coordinator, Ben Steele coming in and taking his place. So let's talk about Ben Steele and this hire. So we start with the actual news itself, all right? This from Tom Pelissero, who also was all over the David Raih news in conjunction with Ian Rappaport. Tom Pelissero writes, the Commanders are hiring Ben Steele as their tight ends coach per a source. A former NFL tight end, Steele spent 5 years bouncing around from team to team trying to find a home in the NFL, never could get his footing situated in the NFL. But Steele spent the past 3 years with the Cardinals. That should be pretty significant. Why? Coaching Trey McBride, who is currently the best tight end in the National Football League. The NFL is in great hands at the tight end position with pass catchers like Trey McBride and Brock Bowers and Sam Laporta. But McBride is the best of that group. Now he heads to Washington, which recently promoted David Raih to pass game coordinator. We just talked about that literally not even 30 minutes ago, right? So let's talk about what Ben Steele has done, his journey, how he ended up here in Washington. So started out his NFL career back in 2001, bounced around for roughly 5 years, and then got into the coaching space. I think he actually came into the league in 2003, bounced around, even went over to when the NFL had NFL Europe, did a bid there, right? A stint in NFL Europe, came back, got into the league, but again, wasn't able to stay and stick on a roster, jumped into coaching in 2008 and worked his way up the ranks, started at Mesa State, then at Colorado, stayed there for a couple of years, got to a graduate assistant level, then broke in at Cal as an offensive administrative assistant, then finally got his hands dirty as a tight ends coach at UC Davis. And from that point forward, he always was on the gridiron in some capacity as a coach. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, got into the NFL for the first time as a coach with the Bucs in 2014 as a quality control assistant or a quality control coach. That was his position for 3 years. Then ended up getting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers tight ends coach job in 2017. He then became the Atlanta Falcons assistant after that 2-year stint in Tampa. Was promoted to tight ends coach in 2020. In 2021, the Minnesota Vikings gave him a chance to be an offensive line coach, an assistant offensive line coach. So again, I've talked about this. Tight ends have to be among the smartest on the offense. The quarterback's probably the smartest guy, has to be, should be, right? The tight end has to be, if not the smartest, even smarter than the quarterback, he's got to be the second smartest because he's got to know what everybody on the field is doing. Got to know what the running back is doing. Got to know what the offensive line is doing. Obviously, got to know his own position and still has to know what the quarterback and wide receivers are doing as well. So he's an extension as a tight end of the offensive line. So he's got offensive line coaching experience, which always helps as a tight end. He did the same job in Denver as an assistant offensive line coach. Then he ended up in Arizona after the Broncos hired Sean Payton. He was not retained, went to Arizona, and ended up being their tight ends coach for the last 3 years under what was the name of the damn coach that went from Philly to Arizona? I can't think of his damn name, but he just got fired, and he's now a defensive coordinator somewhere. I don't know where he ended up, but the most important part there is he's been in Arizona the last 3 years, and he's been coaching Trey McBride each of the last 3 years, and Trey McBride is the best tight end in football. So what does that mean for the Commanders now? So let's talk about that because that's the most important part of this equation. Ben Steele is going to come in here, and he's going to look to, one, get the most out of Ben Sinnott. That is priority number one. Now, what will be interesting is, do they view Ben Sinnott as a TE1 type of tight end? Because theoretically speaking, we already have 3 tight ends on the roster, right? Now, one of them isn't guaranteed anything, but we know they absolutely love him, right? So you've got Ben Sinnott. He's not going anywhere. You've got John Bates. He's not going anywhere. They also have Colson Yankoff. They love him, but he's undrafted. He could go just as fast as he got here. Now, they love him on special teams, and they think he's an athlete. Maybe Ben Steele can work with him too and get the most out of Colson Yankoff. Maybe Colson Yankoff is seen as a better tight end prospect than Ben Sinnott at this point. Who knows? We don't know what they're thinking in that building. Here's what we do know. They want a pass-catching tight end. Is that guy already on the roster? You ask us as fans, we'll tell you, hell no. Got to go out and get one of these guys. Tons of tight ends that are going to be available. I've already said that I'll be disappointed if they don't come away with one of these pass-catching tight ends in free agency. I will be very disappointed because there are enough of them available that we should get our hands on something worth having. I had about 5 or 6 guys that I was very comfortable with them getting in free agency. Obviously, Kyle Pitts has been removed from the equation. That's going to push the price up on Isaiah Likely, which means he's likely to not be here in Washington. We'll see if the Commanders will be willing to outbid some of these other teams and be aggressive in going after Isaiah Likely. But one thing's for certain, whomever they get, if they pursue someone in free agency, they're going to have a really good tight ends coach in Ben Steele to coach that guy up and get the most out of him, right? Trey McBride is the best tight end in football right now. And we got to assume Ben Steele has a lot to do with that. So a welcomed addition to this staff, as DQ said, they weren't done, and he was right. He wasn't lying to us. They weren't done. They add a guy that has got NFL chops and a resume that speaks for itself. I think Rico had mentioned this to me. He may go into greater detail when he puts his video out. but he said that Ben Steele overlapped with Austin Hooper in his Pro Bowl year in Atlanta. I didn't fact check that. I take Rico's word at face value. But if that is in fact true, you've got him coaching Austin Hooper in a Pro Bowl year, and you've also got him coaching Trey McBride to an all-pro status in the National Football League. That tells you that this guy has tremendous talent. And again, DQ, going to that well of a former player, a guy that has done it at this level, at the NFL level, has seen what it takes, has done it in college, has done it at the NFL level, and can understand and communicate to a guy how to do it at a high level in this league. So again, another really good hire, I believe, this offseason. I don't think they're done. Again, I think they're going to hire someone on the defensive side to be the defensive pass game coordinator. And one more thing on David Raih and the pass game coordinator position as a whole. You see how important of a position it is. Instead of them taking the title and giving him split responsibilities, because remember, I just said to you, I thought they were going to keep David Raih as the tight ends coach. So I was wrong about that. They thought so much of this position as the offensive pass game coordinator that it's a promotion. That's one. And two, we don't want you also simultaneously trying to coach the tight ends. It's too much. We just want you to focus on helping coordinate the pass game. That's it. Nothing else. Of course, he's going to still help with the tight ends. He'll be around the receivers because all of that is kind of ingrained in the job description of pass game coordinator, right? Offensive pass game coordinator. You have to have your hands on all forms of the pass game, right? All the components of the pass game. But it's such an important title that we don't want you being overwhelmed or bogged down by having to be in the tight ends room every day with these tight ends, coaching them up, and you can't focus on helping put together this game plan. So someone was asking earlier, I didn't know what these guys did and how important of a role this is. It is an important role, which is why I think they're going to find someone. They tried to find someone on the defensive side. I still think they're going to find someone on the defensive side of the football to man that up. I wonder if they're going to continue with having dual roles for the run game coordinator, because I don't know if they announced that Eric Henderson is going to be the defensive run game coordinator in addition to the defensive line coach. I don't recall that being mentioned. And when I saw it in print, I don't recall seeing that in print either. And obviously, Anthony Lynn is the running backs coach. When I saw it in print, he was not / offensive run game coordinator like he was last year. So I'm wondering, are they going to find someone individually to do that? Or is it just understood that Anthony Lynn retains that title as well? I don't know. I guess we'll see. But they continue to move around parts, figure out what upgrades they can make to this staff. I think this is a really good hire. We don't know if it's an upgrade or not. We'll see if David Raih. I think David Raih, I honestly believe this. I wasn't a Brian Johnson fan. I'm going to be honest with you. I wasn't smitten with Brian Johnson when he was in Philadelphia, so I don't really know what Brian Johnson did, his value here. I can tell you this. I'm intrigued by David Raih getting an opportunity to be the offensive pass game coordinator. And I am very intrigued by Ben Steele coming in here to be the tight ends coach. Don't know if he'll be able to get Ben Sinnott to become a dynamic pass catcher. I still think Ben Sinnott is more of an H-back / fullback type of guy. So you still need to go get a tight end. I don't think your answer is here if you're looking for a pass catching dynamic tight end. You got to go get that guy, whether it's the draft or free agency. But whatever the case may be, he still should be able to get more out of Ben Sinnott. Still should be able to get more out of Ben Sinnott than we've seen over the last couple of years. I am adamant that Ben Sinnott will have a career year this season as a pass catcher. In what capacity, whether it's a move piece as an H-back or he's actually lining up at tight end, that remains to be seen. But Ben Steele being brought in definitely is going to help the development of a Ben Sinnott. And if you bring in an Isaiah Likely, who is still a very young tight end, who has never been a starter in this league, he's going to need development as well. And if you are able to go get an Isaiah Likely, a guy like Ben Steele could take him from being one of the more underrated pass-catching tight ends in the league to one of the best pass-catching tight ends in the league. I'm excited about this opportunity, but they still got to go get the guy that Ben Steele will be able to coach and turn into a Pro Bowl caliber tight end. Hopefully that guy is Isaiah Likely, but we will see. So let's get to the comment section very quickly. Before we do that, as always, let's get a quick word from our sponsor, come back on the other side and get to any comments that you guys may have.
Sleeper is the best way to experience and connect over sports together. It's a one-stop shop for all of your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat in the games in real time with other users, get the fastest scores, blazing fast news and alerts right at your fingertips. Play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. So enjoy sports the way they were meant to, together. Download the #1 sports app today. Predict the hottest football stats like passing yards, receiving yards, touchdowns, interceptions, and much more to cash in on your daily fantasy football skills. Use promo code LTN and Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. Sleeper.
Shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring this stream. Video Channel is hilarious. So I got to read this super chat from Video Channel. Video Channel, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Video Channel writes, Lou! Video Channel. Ertz looking at the Steele hire, rubbing his hands like Birdman. Ready to sign his 2-year deal, fully guaranteed $18 million. For those of you who don't know, Ertz did cross paths with Ben Steele in Arizona. Remember, Zach Ertz was there in 2023, very briefly, but there nonetheless in 2023 before he came to Washington in 2024. So, there is a bit of, I would say, overlapping, I guess. I don't think there was a ton of time spent there. Ertz wasn't there for very long in 2023 with Arizona. His last real season in Arizona was 22 under Cliff Kingsbury. I think he was there, and then he asked for his release from Arizona in 23 and he got it. And I think he spent most of that season out of the league, rehabbing, etc. I think he ended up with Detroit late in that season in 2023, but didn't actually play. So I really look, I know this much. All jokes aside, right? That's hilarious. Video Channel. All jokes aside, Zach Ertz can't come here. He can't come back here. I love Zach Ertz to death. He can't come back here. We have to get younger. That is the mantra of the offseason. We got to get younger. Bobby Wagner can't come back here. Zach Ertz can't come back here. Von Miller can't come back here. We can't bring the oldie but goodies back who used to be elite. We're not in that space anymore. So as much as I love Ertz, I love his rehab journey right now. He looks like he's way ahead of schedule, already jump roping and deadlifting. That's a great start for him this offseason. And his goal is to be all in for week 1. Good for him. I hope he finds some team that's willing to give him an opportunity. But it ain't here. It can't be here. It cannot be here. So that's hilarious. But all jokes aside, we got to go get us a young buck, man. We got to go get us a young stallion at the tight end position, man. We can't go get another one of these old horses that is close to being put out to pasture in the back, right? Like, we got to go get us one of these young thoroughbreds out here who's running laps and circles around the competition, not somebody who used to be able to do it, all right? So That's hilarious, but I want no parts of that. On some real shit. We cannot have Zach Ertz back here in Washington in 2026. It's scary even thinking about it. Same with Bobby Wagner. Scary thinking about them wanting to do something like that. And again, I don't know if that's the direction. I don't think that's the direction that they're going to go in either. But you never know. You never know, right? Anyway, I digress. Big shout out to Video Channel, man. That was a funny one. Anyway, I digress. Ben Steele, your new tight ends coach, which makes me feel like they are far from done with this staff. I think you got a defensive pass game coordinator coming, and I wouldn't be shocked if we see the separation of run game coordinators here. There may be nothing that goes on there, and Eric Henderson may be your defensive run game coordinator, and Anthony Lynn will remain your offensive run game coordinator. We'll see if those things kind of stay intact or if they separate those duties and allow someone individually to do those things. But for one thing's for certain, there is a defensive pass game coordinator coming here to Washington at some point based off of how they just moved on the offensive side. I don't think they're going to absorb that title on the defensive side. Ben Steele, here is the new tight ends coach. I'm excited about the hire. If he can do that for Trey McBride, I'm hoping he can do wonders for Ben Sinnott and whomever they bring in here at the tight end position. So you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I know I've been hoarding tons of it, and I apologize. Like Anita Baker, I apologize. Believe me, I do. I apologize, but duty calls. I always tell you, if some news happens, you're going to see this face invading your space. So some more news happen. What you want me to do? I promise there won't be more news. Or will it? I can't promise you that nothing will happen. I'm about to get off a stream. So if everything goes according to plan, they'll hire their defensive pass game coordinator as soon as I hit end on this stream. That's the likelihood. But enjoy the rest of your Friday, will you? There's the combine. There's different things going on. Enjoy. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.